Good afternoon, everyone. Today is April 21st, and here are the most important news. Today, North Korea ratified ban on petrol and diesel cars. Ban will become active next year. As you remember, European Union was the first to ban petrol and diesel cars in 2025, followed by UK in 2030, China and US in 2040. It resulted in a significant reduction of CO2 emissions, but could not stop global warming and climate change. Fish departments in most supermarkets remain empty for the past 4 months. Earlier this year, a new type of bacteria affected 90% of country's fish farms, which made fish extremely poisonous to humans. At the same time, sea fishing business can provide market with enough fish. Ocean acidification resulted in a significant drop in the number of fish species within the past 20 years. Tuna and marlin went extinct by 2045, and only small adaptable species such as gobies and blennies are thriving nowadays, but can satisfy today's fish market demand. And today we have our special correspondent from Nigeria, Maria. Hi, Maria.
Hi, Katya. In Nigeria, continues the mass demonstration by the parliament building. Activists are protesting against unending corruption of the government, poverty, terrorism and civil wars. They demand to provide the basic education and employment, as well as housing and food. Africa is increasingly aware of the corruption problem, but there is no political will and legislative framework to deal with it. People said that they are tired to live in such poverty. Why country which is so rich is so poor? And it's so true. Africa, which population grew within 30 years from 1 billion to 4 billion, and Nigeria became the third largest country after China and India, faces enormous challenges in implementing 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Africa's urbanization was the largest shift of the century, and it became the fastest growing economies in 20 years. So why the country that is home to the major percentage of raw materials, diamonds, salt, copper, petroleum, is so rich and so poor in the same time? More than half of the global population growth occurred in Africa. Leaders need to invest in young generation education to provide the workforce and economic growth for its future, says United Nations report.
And news from first human colony on Mars that was established in 2034. Project became possible due to efforts of Elon Musk, who became president of United States in 2032. Right now, our colony consists of 500 capsules and hosts about 10,000 people. Government plan to relocate another 50,000 people to Mars within the next 5 years. And right now we have our reporter on the phone with us, Darlene. She is in our colony on Mars. Hi, Darlene. How are you doing? We know you recently arrived to Mars. How long did it take you to get there?
Hello, Earth. It took me 115 Earth days to get to Mars, finally.
Oh, awesome. What are the latest news that you can share with us?
Well, the scientists here successfully tested new model of greenhouse, which will make us more self-sustainable.
Oh, this is good news. And what about animal farm that was established about 2 years ago?
Well, as of now, we are capable of growing cows and chickens only that are genetically modified to survive in conditions that we have here on Mars.
Oh, I'm sorry, we lost the connection. Alright, so back to news on Earth. News from Seattle. Starbucks company just announced closing of its last remaining coffee shop that is located at Pike's Place Market in Seattle, Washington. This is the oldest and the only Starbucks store that remained open through the global coffee crisis, which started in 2041. Remind you, climate change caused a major rise in temperature that affected coffee production. Amount of coffee producing land decreased by 88% in 2060 and pushed farms uphill where temperatures are lower and suitable for coffee crops. Due to many challenges the farmers faced, 90% of coffee farms around the world had to shut down. Coffee production fell by 95% and affected all the major coffee chains. At present time, only few coffee farms continue to operate, which are located on Big Island, Hawaii, Costa Rica, and Peru. Due to extremely high prices, coffee from these farms are mainly sold to smugglers that later resell it at a black market. As tomorrow is an Earth Day, we are continuing to talk about our current situation with the environmental in despair. We thought it would be interesting to ask the question, what if? What if we had done things differently 50 years ago? What if we had better prepared for the future that we knew was coming? Would we have been in a better status than we are now? After the short break, a special guest, Dharma Quest, will join us tonight in our studio, who is a former EPA scientist. There is a former Environmental Protection Agency for those that don't remember. And we will be back after a short commercial.
Feeling tired of city views and traffic jams? Dive into an amazing underwater world with new Aquaria Living Complex. Luxury ocean scrapers are offering exquisite living spaces, science labs and offices. Across 250 floors, you will find eco-luxury hotels, farms and stadiums. Each ocean scraper offers a unique experience and sustainable. It's constructed using recycled plastic from Pacific garbage patch. Seawater is desalinated for drinking, and microalgae is recycling organic wastes. Designer team investigated the latest advancement in green design and implemented their vision in Aquaria. Fabrics are made of synthetic spider threads, and products are bioengineered from discarded shrimp shells to technologies like self-healing concrete, crushed glass pest control, cardio machines that generate power, and gardens that supports biodiversity. Currents, storms, or even earthquakes? Forget about this. In Aquaria, you don't need to worry. The tower's geometry and ballasting would counteract marine whirlpools and natural buoyancy, while the thickness of outer shell would decrease from the sea surface downwards to compensate for the strain caused by increased pressure. Call now at 808-300-0500 to have your space in paradise.
Tonight in our studio we have Dharma Quest, who is a former EPA scientist. Hi Dharma, how you doing?
Hi, welcome. Thank you.
Please tell us what you were doing 50 years ago.
Well, 50 years ago, I was on a team of scientists that were tasked with developing and researching new ways to counteract the global warming that we knew was coming. And unfortunately, when President Trump, he hired Scott Pruitt as the EPA administrator, us scientists were either fired or disbanded. I was actually made as an administrative assistant, which the bosses like to refer to me as the hot secretary. So, you know, that only lasted for about 2 years before the EPA was completely disbanded.
In your opinion, if we had the power to go back and fix things, what should we have done?
Well, I think the United States should have taken more responsibility for its actions. You know, we should have ratified the Paris Accord ourselves and helped developed countries to make more of an effort to decrease their own fossil fuel use and greenhouse gases, and you know, we should have stuck to our agreement. Additionally, you know, why did we wait till 2040 to ban all petroleum cars like you had just mentioned? You know, we knew that this was an issue. We could have taken care of it. And additionally, we should have put the importance on you know, sustainability and farming, and you know, whether it was urban or vertical gardening, and decreasing our meat and dairy consumption, and you know, decreasing the demand for cows that are really, you know, they really hurt the methane emissions. You know, there was a lot of things we could have done.
Thank you. Have we made those changes? How would the world be now?
You know, we would have been able to go outside and not have to worry about being overheated. You know, we could still go to the beach. We could actually go out and see glaciers in their finest. And you know, there was just, we could have clear skies in the oceans, and you know, we would have multiple ways of transportation that were all clean. I think we would actually be healthier and more fit. You know, we would just being more conscious, and we would live in the world that ideally we would have wanted to see today.
Thank you. Dharma, do you think there is anyone to blame for the destruction of the Earth?
I wish that I could place blame on that idiot President Trump and his bigoted vice president, that took over for him after he was impeached, but I just can't. This was so much bigger than either two of them. This was all of us. Every one of us, including myself, had the power to make a difference, even if it was a small one, and we could have impacted the future.
In your opinion, do you think there is anything we can do at this point to save our planet?
Well, there's always hope. I think that we can always try and do better, no matter what it is. It's always been my thought, and I like to pass that on to everybody, that education and awareness is extremely important, and we should always leave the Earth better than we found it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dharma. Thanks everyone for being with us tonight, and have a good weekend.
Scientist and a team that was trying to develop new ways to develop. Oh, I can't do it. There's no way I can do it. There's no way. I think I'll just stick with the first.
We have our reporter on the phone that is located on Mars right now. Hi, Darlene. We know you recently arrived to Mars. How long did it take you to get there?
Hello, Kat. I arrived 150. Sorry, hold on. Let's retake that.
And right now we have our correspondent Maria. Hi, Maria.
Hi.
Okay, I'll try it one more time with two pins. No, we're gonna make this.